Okay, Coach Longo.
Coach, what is Bo Krause and Daz Newsom become pretty big targets for Sam? What have you seen from their development, especially Bo's kind of become like almost a go-to touchdown target?
Bo actually had a tremendous spring ball for us, and then he's a little bit quieter in summer camp. But he has proven to be a very productive guy around the football. He's probably made the most contested catches for us this year. And so I think when a receiver does that, you instill more confidence. If Sam has, or if any quarterback in this offense has a similar matchup on both sides, I want him to discriminate and throw to the guy that has proven to be maybe the better fade guy or the better change of direction route guy, whatever happens to be called on that particular play. So we want to feed the ball to the guys that have proven to be productive. And I think as each game has gone by, really starting with South Carolina when he caught the big touchdown, it's each week he kind of states his case for Sam. So I think right now Sam feels really comfortable throwing the Bo, Diami, Daz, Toe, the four guys that are playing the most. I mean, that's why they're out there. I don't know if he'd tell you he favors one over the other right now, which is a good thing for our offense.
What was Bo done, maybe worked on that allowed him to maybe take the next step?
I think it's the contested catches. I think he's done just a great job when he actually is covered well of coming down with the football. He's had more of those catches than our other receivers. He's been in more of those situations. And so maybe where he's a little better or a little worse athletically than some of the other guys, he's just, because he's long and he's tall and he's very, very aggressive to the football. And I think that if you wanted me to pinpoint one thing, that would be probably the top asset that he has.
If I just keep it on the conversation about Bo.
Sure.
My understanding, you have a daughter that's type 1 diabetes?
I do. My 8-year-old daughter Gianna is a type 1 diabetic, and so she has something in common with Bo, and they have a pretty interesting relationship. And he's handled conversations with my daughter very well, and he's kind of an inspiration to her. So they both live the same kind of life, and I think it's been great for my daughter to see Bo and what he's accomplished and how he handles his issues. And I think she kind of feels like if he can do that, so can she. So, and I think Bo probably does that for a lot of people, but I know it's been a huge benefit for my daughter.
How might have you understood what he's going through?
Well, it's a great point. I totally understand what he's going through because I live it every day with my daughter. So when he has similar issues, which he's managed very well, I don't think it's really affected him on the football field. He had a little bit of an issue in the spring, and I think he kind of felt out a plan. He's got a strategy with all of our health people, and so that really has not been a factor football-wise. But I think when and if he ever did have an issue, I certainly am well informed because I live it every day with Gianna.
Sam was a little tough on himself after the game the other day, kind of took responsibility for a couple of sacks, or the two sacks. What was different in his performance Saturday than before that led to some of them?
Sam and I talked. He's really he's very self-aware, and he's very humble, and he's extremely he does almost really what I like to do with myself after the games. You evaluate your play calls. You self-evaluate, and you want to try and get better. He does the same thing. He'll watch the game before we get together. He'll already be kind of informed. He knows what I'm going to correct him on. He had 5 plays in the entire game that he didn't execute to his liking or to ours, and so some of them became negative plays, and Sam wants to be perfect, and none of us are ever going to be. But when that's the goal, you have a greater opportunity to get close to it. And so we evaluated those 5 plays and we talked about him, and he'd love to have him back. The good thing about Sam is I don't think you'll see him make those same mistakes this week, and that's why he has just systematically gotten better from week to week.
Another part of self-evaluation is some people will kind of stress over the mistakes they made. How does he handle processing those mistakes?
Well, and that's what we do. So we just basically list between the two of us what we need to get better, and those are the things that you emphasize. And so if every player on your team ID'd and evaluated what they did wrong, emphasized it during the week and got better, your team would get better every single week. And that's a sign of good coaching, and it's a sign of maturity with your players. And I believe our team has gotten better every week. And so we have a lot of that going on in every position, not just with Sam. You know, the first thing that pops out to me is Coach Thigpen and some of the linebackers. I think they've gotten better every single week, and it's not my job to evaluate them, but I think they're playing pretty good football. You know, and they're another just a positive example, I think, of you know, an aspect of our team that's getting better weekly. And Sam's no different. Some do it better than others. You know, that's the challenge every week for every coach and every player.
What's allowed Daz to really take a step forward over these past few games?
You know, Daz is playing very, very instinctively right now, and I think he's starting to, he's going beyond just understanding the play that we're calling. You know, he kind of understands why we're creating a certain matchup. I think he understands when he's not the primary guy and how he can help get the ball maybe to Diami or one of the other receivers. He's doing a good job blocking right now. So as every week goes by, he has a greater understanding of the whole thing. And I think he's to a point now where he's able to play as fast as he can play. And, you know, he has speed and he is an athlete. And so as soon as you can get anybody like a Daz Newsome to not have to think when they're playing football, I think you're going to see their best football.
Phil,
That's kind of the crux of the whole offense.
Phil, Mac mentioned that he thought when Javante fumbled there late, it was just a matter of him trying too hard. And that's kind of part of the learning to win deal. I'm just curious, when you come into a program that's lost a lot in recent years, is that part of the process of making sure they don't do more than maybe what they just need to do in a given
It
play?
is. That's part of a few of the plays that Sam had. He went outside the framework of the play and tried to do more than he really needed to. And he would tell you the same thing. I smile because Mac Brown has he seems to nail these situations. He describes them really exactly. I mean, Javante had a huge game. And, you know, we were down there with an opportunity to win the game because of the way he played, you know, because of the way a lot of the guys played. But, he brought one of his best games, you know, Saturday. And here he is at the end with an opportunity he wants to put the exclamation point on a great night, right? And, you know, he leaves his feet at the 5-yard line. And right around the 4 or the 3 winds up fumbling the football. And you hate to see a running back who's had such a great night finish his game that way, but he was trying. I said, why did you jump? He never jumps. He puts his feet on the ground and he runs people over. And I've never seen him jump with the exception of one run at Virginia Tech where there was an obstacle on the ground. So he said, I'm trying to win. I was just trying to win. And that's what he's trying to do. But you know, the way Mac puts it is he's trying to do a little bit more than he really needed to do on that play. We were really, really excited. We had put a couple things in down there. Thought we'd pound that thing down to the 2 or the 1. We had another play we wanted to run. And we felt like we could get it in and go up by 10 and close the show. And that would have been a pretty good feeling. But we like to make things dramatic sometimes, and so, you know, the rest is kind of history. You know what happened after that.
Have you ever had a player try to jump from that far out?
No.
Like the physics were not there.
I don't think he realized he's at the 5. I think he saw the goal line, and he was trying to finish it there. He's trying to make an athletic play, and he did. You know, the ball is susceptible when you're in the air. It's hard to squeeze the ball high and tight and keep it protected when you're in the air because you've got to extend your arms to get up into the air in the first place. And so it puts the ball in jeopardy, and that's what happened.
Mac mentioned that Javante wanted to apologize to the team after that. What does that speak to his character and what kind of kid he is?
Well, I mean, he feels responsible. Of course he's not. It's any play that any player didn't make in the game is all equally responsible all the way through, including the staff. And so, you know, there was no need for that, but it kind of tells you what kind of kid he is. I think right now it's just going to motivate him to focus in a little bit more this week, and I wouldn't be surprised if he got another great game out of Javante.
Phil, how did the offensive line grade out in your opinion? I know 4 of the 5 starters played every snap, but I know Azudu and Montilus are still kind of trading a little bit. How did they grade out, and what's going on with that position?
They graded out better. I mean, we emphasized some of the mistakes that we made last week, and we didn't make them Saturday. I didn't feel that way in pass protection. I think we have some things that we want to shore up there that we have done better previously. That kind of popped into Saturday's game a little bit. But in the run game, you know, Javonte did a heck of a job, but it's also a product of, you know, our offensive line. I think we rushed for 205 yards, and Michael and Javonte and Antonio did a good job. And we rolled through those three guys, and I thought we did a really good job of controlling the line of scrimmage, and better than most weeks, we got to the second level and engaged some people at the second level, and it turned some 4 or 5 yard runs into some explosive runs, and so that was a you know, a bright spot for us Saturday night.
If y'all ever get Polino back, it seems like he is
Yeah.
close to getting ready for practicing. How would that change what you do offensive line, you know, where you play?
Well, first you get him back, which means you get him cleared medically. Then you got to get him out on the field and practice and see where he really is. You know, so everybody transitions back to practice differently. If he looks fine and he doesn't look rusty and he's techniquing well and he's moving, then I'm sure Stacy will work him into the lineup. Tuesday will be our first time watching him really work out at a, you know, on a physical level. So we'll know more probably after the end of the week.
Brian
Guard,
Anderson said,
center,
Gardner Center, wherever. I mean, we'll need, we do need and we want depth at both positions. And he has the ability to play both roles, so
Yeah.
I think, we got to see where he is. 2, he has been snapping, so it's not like, you know, he's taking 4 or 5 weeks off snapping. You know, he's been doing that, you know, for a while now. So it'll just be a matter of where do we think he can help us best.
if you could single out an area where Brian has progressed the most since Nick went down and he took over, what would it be?
What area Brian's gotten
Yeah,
better?
yeah.
Overall continuity, consistency. You know, snaps have gotten better, and you know, we chart every snap in practice, every snap in games. When you have a bunch of X's over the picture of the quarterback on our snap chart, you have concerns, and that has dwindled and gone down, and we're getting a lot of snap consistency from him, and he's been doing a really good job mentally of making calls and getting us in the right, you know, the right position. So Brian mentally has gotten better week to week, and then snap consistency has gotten better.
What do you expect to see out of Virginia's defense this week?
Well, now they're good now. These guys are, this is much like Clemson, they're much longer. This is a bigger defense that we're going to see here. They are rangier and longer up front at the second level and in the secondary. So it's going to feel a lot more like that game in terms of we're going to have to do a good job of refitting our hands up front on the O-line when they chop them off. We're going to have to do a good job of getting the hands of the DB's office at receiver. You know, that just adds another challenge. But so they're similar in that way. The 2 DNs are really, really good. Linebackers are very good. They do a good job pursuing the football. They are very, very multiple in coverage. And so for Sam to trigger the ball quickly when we throw it, he's going to have to do a good job of IDing what they're doing. And our guys are going to have to do a good job of working the space when they zone it, creating separation when they man it. So we have our hands cut full and our work cut out for us this week.
Is it similar to Duke with those multiple fronts, and does that help Sam? That's the week right after?
You know, system-wise they're different, but you know, saying multiple coverage is pretty vanilla. They will run a lot of the things that Duke did coverage-wise. They're going to get there differently. They're going to present different pictures than we saw last week. And then just athletically, I think the biggest similarity is what we saw at Clemson.
Great. Thanks,
All
Coach.
right, thank you, Coach.
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, Coach.